Hey y'all, thanks for tuning in to another video. It's Carrie Nicole, and so let's talk about how to use the 8 C's of self to heal. And so if you didn't tune in to episode 34 of the Peace Podcast, roll back and go listen to that one where I explain in depth how the 8 C's of self show up in your life. You see, the parts that we operate in, those protector parts that we're using every day, are meant to keep us safe. They're what our brain tells us is going to keep us from experiencing any hardships, hurts, or something that's going to keep us in a downward spiral. And our brain is operating in a way to help us to survive, not thrive. It cares about survival, not success. And so when we're thinking about what it looks like to be success inside of yourself looks like being able to operate as yourself, not as those parts. Again, I said this in the pod and I'll say it again. Think back to watching the movie Inside Out, and those parts are trying so hard. Those emotional pieces of us are trying so hard to keep us safe, and everybody thinks they know what to do to keep the person inside safe, and they're fighting and battling against each other. But if you're operating in your true self, you will be able to exist in the 8 C's of the self, and this will take you to healing. So let's talk about how self energy heals, but the parts create conflict and chaos. Self energy comes from those 8 C's, which are calm, curiosity, clarity, compassion, courage, creativity, connectedness, and confidence. And if you want a deeper explanation of these, you can roll back to that episode 34 of the Peace Podcast. I'm just going to give you a brief summary really quickly so that we can go into the steps of how these will lead to healing. So when we're talking about calm, your true calm exists within. You feel it. You can access it. You can go internal and you can be calm regardless of what the chaos of the outside world looks like. So we're talking about operating in that self. Your true self operates in curiosity. So instead of blaming, shaming, guilting, and all of these things, you just get curious. You ask questions. I wonder where that's coming from. I wonder why that person acts that way. The clarity is that when you can rest in your full intuition, you have a clear vision of what's actually going on. You don't have all those outside voices muddying up the waters. The compassion C says, I can give myself compassion for operating the way I'm operating, but I can also give compassion to other people. I might still have to set a boundary, but I can have compassion for the way that they're moving in the world. Courage says, I'm going to do this thing even if I don't feel brave enough to do the thing, because my protector part is showing me fear, but deep down I know I'm courageous enough to do this. I've done every other thing that I've been scared of before, and I'm able to get myself to this point by being courageous. You know, we're not really afraid of heights until someone shows us what to be afraid of. So it's operating in that courage even though we might be scared. Creativity, it's really using the gifts that were given and put deep down in you without the fear of being rejected by other people based on that gifting. Connectedness is truly being authentic with other people, being able to connect with them, and not just on a surface level, but deeper than that. And then confidence is your internal knowing that you're good at what you're good at, and you don't have to worry about judgment or what other people might think. And so those C's of the self are the pieces, not the parts, but the pieces, internal pieces of you that are going to lead you to healing. You have to silence the parts because, again, those parts, they're wired for survival. They want to make sure that you're not in pain. But if you truly want to heal and you want to be successful at that healing, you have to know that those parts are battling for survival, but you don't want survival, you want success. And so in an effort to get success, there are some things that we can do, some activities and some journalings and some just processes that we can go through that can get us to a place where we're no longer listening to those parts creating chaos, but we're resting in the peace of the true self, because that self energy does heal. And I'm not saying that you avoid God in these spaces, because God is what created yourself to be that way. So you consult with him while you're doing this process. So what does it look like? Well, pick one C for this week. Curiosity is the one that I'm going to give you an example of, because curiosity is my favorite one. So you pick one C for this week, and every day you ask yourself, how can I practice this C with myself and others? How can I get curious with myself and others? And then start writing down the shifts that you notice, right? So let's say your kid comes home off the bus and they're in a horrible mood. They get in the car, and they're being super cranky and nasty. Your natural inclination, if you're leaning into your parts, is for survival, which says, I'm going to get overstimulated if this kid doesn't stop. So I need to protect myself by telling them to be quiet and quit the temper tantrum. But yourself knows that there's no true imminent danger here. So you can say, hey, you seem a little bit, insert adjective here, frustrated, sad, emotional. Seem a little bit, whatever that thing is. Just wondering, did something happen today? Do you need to talk about it? And if they're anything like my 8-year-old, they're going to say, no, I don't want to talk about it right now. And you can say, okay, if you don't want to talk about it right now, that's okay. But when you do want to talk about it, I'd love to hear what happened in your day today, because it sounds like something was really big in your day today. And later they'll come back and they'll tell you about it. And it might not seem that like a big deal to you, but to them, it shifted their whole mood. And they didn't have somebody that they felt safe enough having that conversation about that thing with while they were in school. But when they got to you, it's like this unloading of all these emotions because they do feel safe with you. And imagine if you felt safe with yourself that way, where you could actually feel what you feel, you could actually say what you want to say, you could actually do what you want to do, and then you could process it. Well, that's what curiosity allows for others and yourself to do. You react a certain way and you go, I wonder why I did it that way. I wonder why I said it this way. I wonder why I feel closed off today to people. I wonder why I hate the way I look today. I wonder why my body image is off today. I wonder why I'm being so judgmental of myself today. Curiosity allows you to ask the questions to, instead of getting angry at yourself or shaming yourself or blaming yourself, you just get real curious about why you're operating from that space in the moment. And when you do, you start to unearth the real truth behind what's happening in front of you. And it's not just curiosity that operates that way. Calmness operates that way too. There might be chaos going around here, but I know how to find my calm. So let me find it. And then jot it down and write down how it shifts in your system when you're actually paying attention to that inner self energy that says calm is where we want to rest. We don't like this chaos piece. And the only reason that you've experienced attending to the chaos is because you're trying to keep yourself safe. Survival says fight against the chaos, but your true self says, nah, the calm exists in here. I don't need to fight against that. I'm just going in here because I know that's where the calm is. And all of the C's have the ability to do that. And it would take you 8 weeks to do this, but I'm telling you, it's going to be 8 weeks of true and authentic and actual healing, to take one of the C's a week and really work through it, highlight it, and don't just highlight it, but try to hold on to it, grasp it, remember what it felt like. Because then each week you're layering on, not trading one for the other, so that you can rest in your self energy and not be so attached to these parts that are fighting for you to be safe and survive. And you can rest in the success of what true healing looks like. Because when you start to uncover all the things, there are going to be things that you're uncovering. But you're going to start to soften your heart. You're going to start to soften your stance when you're able to understand that there's a safe place inside of you, instead of thinking that you need to create it outside. So choose your C word for the week and practice it daily. Write it down, write how it shifts you, and then report back. Tell me in the comments how it worked for you, because I'm telling you that on this healing journey, that is what I've had to do. If things remain the same, then things will remain the same. If we do what we've always done, we'll get what we've always got. But when we start to change up the things that we're doing and change up the behaviors and habits, that's when we start to actually see something. Now, you could listen to this video and you could do absolutely nothing, but you're going to be listening to more videos in the same headspace over and over and over again. But you could listen to this video and actually listen to what I'm saying because it works. I know because I've walked through it. I know because I've helped other people walk through it. And when you do, you're going to start to notice a shift in yourself. And you're going to start to feel confident in yourself, in your internal calmness, in your internal curiosity, and your courage, and your confidence, and all of these things, because you're starting to alleviate all the parts that are protecting you, and you're able to uncover the parts that actually need to be healed. So thank you for tuning in. Make sure you like and subscribe to this channel. As always, go follow me on the socials. And remember that knowledge gained and kept to yourself is selfish, but knowledge shared with the world could just be the catalyst that they need to break free from the bondage that they're experiencing. And we all want to be free from that bondage so that we can live a life that is authentic and free to be our fully true selves, so that we can walk in this world exactly the way that we were crafted by God to be. So thanks for tuning in, and I'll see you again next time.